Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing great out there. My name is Kawekwa Douglas, and today we're having our first podcast series by Rotary Club of Kiwatule in association with Mental Health Limited and the Uganda Counselling Association. For now, let's go start with the introductions, starting with at my left.
My name is Rotarian Nakyaja Gloria. I am a chef, and I also do cooking classes. Thank you.
Thank you. I am Evelyn Kharono Fafa, a counseling psychologist. I'm a member of the Uganda Counselling Association, current vice president, but I'm also a university counselor at Makerere University. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Gitta Emmanuel Freeman. I'm a counselor by profession. I serve on the board of Uganda Counselling Association as the P.R.O and the Head of Advocacy. I also work at Chambogo College School as their school counselor. Happy to be here with you.
Great. And once again, my name is Kawekwa Douglas. I'm from Mental Health Limited. And Mental Health Limited is a teletherapy organization. We are enabling people to get professional mental health services through their phones or personal computers. I would like to start by, what's the difference between a counseling psychologist and a counselor?
Oh, a counseling psychologist. Well, it's not a big difference, but it's the education level.
Yeah.
A counselor is anyone who has attained a diploma and a bachelor's in counseling. A psychologist is someone with a master's or a PhD. So it's just, we do similar work, only that, yeah.
So it's just the education background that changes.
Yes, it's the education that changes.
And that's interesting. Emma, what is mental health to you in lay terms? What is mental health? Yes.
Yeah, mental health is simply the psychological, emotional, and social well-being of any human being on planet Earth.
So psychological,
it's about how you think, how you feel, and how you relate with other people. That is mental health.
And it's interesting, like with all those, how when someone gets to know like that mentally ill, which we call mental disorders, I would like to ask, why do we think, and what are some of the mental disorders that are common among the Ugandans today? And how do you get to know that these are someone's actually mentally ill?
Before even we get to the disorders, we start with the basics. When it comes to mental health, we start with mental health challenges, normal stressors of life. Just stress, having some little anxiety, fear, or anything. Those are the challenges we start with before we reach the disorder. Disorder is the extreme part, the last brim of mental health. But now when we get from the challenges, we come to the illnesses, the extreme depression, the excessive anxiety, when you have those panic attacks, things of the sort. But then when you get to a disorder, it's where you've gone through all these, you've not received the help you need, and you find yourself at the brim. So by the time you get to the brim, this cannot be just seen by an individual layman looking at. A disorder is diagnosed by a psychiatrist who is able to run a test. Either it's verbal or it's medical or it is done through the lab, through scans, and they find out that this is now the disorder you have. But you can't just look at an event. You say, naye gwendo wozo ina PTSD. Naye kati gwendo wozo ina panic disorder. No. Naye gwendo wozo ina schizophrenia. It's a matter of taking on tests.
So you have to do the assessment. No matter like someone is in. Yeah, Evelyn, counseling psychologist Evelyn. What more could you supplement to that with what Emma shared?
Yeah, like what Emma said is not so different. The truth is, when you talk about mental health, we all have mental health because we have a brain. So meaning that on one day or the other, your mental health can change anytime. If right now we come out of the studio and then they tell you your mother is dead, your mental health is going to change. You're going to become distressed. You're going to become uncomfortable. You cannot work. Or they tell you, you have just lost your job. Your mental health is going to change. And because our coping mechanisms are different, someone else will say, well, I'll get another one. Another one will say, oh my God, I'm doomed. And that will be the beginning of issues. But however, because we all belong to this continuum of mental health, we can be in green at one point. Then you keep moving. Sometimes you're at orange. But if you're in the red, now those are the mental disorders and illnesses that you're talking about. Now, these people are supposed to be, people in the red usually are institutionalized. Because when you talk about
Also go to
mental,
Butabika. You have to take them to Butabika.
yes, okay, not only Butabika,
Rehabilitation.
but in a rehabilitation
Yes.
or hospital that can be able to give them help.
Yes.
Because at this level, your thoughts are distorted, the behavior, everything.
Yourself,
Yeah, you're not aware, you're out of reality.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, then you have a disorder. But otherwise, when it comes to mental health, like he said, why do we emphasize the basics? Because out here, for us who are not institutionalized, because those who are institutionalized, maybe they were lucky, they were picked, they are on medication, they are being attended to. But in the community, in the society, many of us are suffering from mental health issues silently.
Sure. Last November, when the New Vision had the 30% of Ugandans are mentally ill, then prior to that was 14 million Ugandans. And I have someone that tell Kungamba, like, I'm always here, I always joke with Douglas and Ninzo kwa City Bulunji. And I love what you say, like, starts from the normal stressors. This is actually, I would like to bring in Gloria. Could you kindly share with us your experiences on how your mental health experiences, like so she's going through something, she would like us to listen to her, then we can take it on from there.
Okay.
Yes.
So you find that people think when you're having mental health challenges, they think about the extremes and they don't consider that day-to-day stress. So for me, I started being aware when I lost my mother. I started being I started experiencing anxiety. I went from anxiety to depression. And I didn't understand what I was going through. I didn't know that this is a mental health challenge. But as time went on and I was talking to a few of my friends, I got some ideas on how I can go about that. And one thing they recommended to do personally on my own was meditation. So I started practicing meditation, daily meditation. And I found that it helped with my anxiety. Because I was struggling so much with anxiety in public. I could barely express myself anymore because I was just always in a negative mental state. I was always scared, like something bad is going to happen. Because from my experience of that, now I was always in a state of something is going to go wrong with everything I was doing. So my experience took me to sharing with others, to create some awareness. And what I always advise people is you start by being aware of how you are feeling.
True.
And accepting that. And then from there, you can be able to get some help.
It is the first step towards healing.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Great. This is when you decided to leave the country, as you shared earlier, so that you could dissociate from everything that was around you at the same time.
So apart from that, I'm in business, and I was going through other stresses. And apart from my business, I also lost my father later. So I was piling up a bunch of things.
It was a series of breaking moments.
Yes, and I think I was using my work to keep away from that and not actually get some help or take some time off and deal with the problem. So I was using work to just
to escape route, away from the
escape
situation.
from the situation. So I found that I literally had a breakdown. Like I had a breakdown where I couldn't take it anymore. And I guess also through prayer, I just came to an understanding that I need to take a break off everything, off of work. So I took 3 months off.
Okay.
I went away and I got some personal space. I started reviewing my thoughts. I started learning that I have to stay away from the negative thoughts.
True.
Because it actually led me to insomnia. I couldn't sleep. When I was in bed, I was just thinking, and not thinking good things, negative things, in fear. Think about everything that could go wrong. But with time, with reading, I got some information where I started self-help. I never really went to a psychiatrist or a professional for help. I did my research, and with the research I did, I started my own personal meditation. And honestly, with prayer and meditation, I got out of all of that. I don't have anxiety. I sleep well.
That's beautiful.
I also did substance abuse where I was drinking too much, smoking, to just cope.
To let off the situation, okay.
But through the meditation, I actually got a chance to heal from all of that. And I'm here now.
Wow.
You're part of the 1% that are in position to get themselves out of
Exactly, that's what I was
when they've fallen. And that is beautiful.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And I was also that is it possible to get to heal out of mental illnesses or this mental spectrum to you? Like, what do you think? You said one of the part of 1%. Like she said, she didn't go for therapy. Can you cure mental illnesses?
When you listen to her, she went through a very difficult period. But one of the things I've heard from her is she got self-aware at one point. And like she got her own revelation and said, I think I am where I don't want to be. So she took an initiative to do something. She took a step. She started doing something. The resources she used worked for her. She used prayer. She used self-help. She used meditation. And within her, she had that intention that I really want to be fine. And so, yes, she did not have a mental illness. She, in fact, from where she started, she suffered complex grief. The loss of her mother affected her in one way. Grief can give all the symptoms of mental health issues. You suffer anxiety, there's depression, you move from anger, so it has all those symptoms. And therefore, if someone does not get well, but remember, she had to go through a lot. She had to cope through, drinking. Also, she had to cope through so many things. So why he's saying among the 1% is that it's not always that everyone who goes that route will just come out and say, I did this for 1 year, 2 years, and I came out.
Exactly.
Some people get stuck because they may not get that
self-awareness
and say, oh my God, I have to stop. And sometimes you do not know. Some people drink 1 to 6 months and they're already into addiction. She did not move into addiction. She drank to clear problems, but then she realized I have to go. So it's mental health issues. You cannot say that one size fits all. But if someone gets a revelation like she did, and then she got self-aware and she was determined, because there is work to do. She did some work. She had to sacrifice and say, today I'm not going to drink, I'm going to meditate. She had to do many things. And, when someone is having a mental health issue at that moment, they feel they're alone. So it's very easy to slide in the worst place. But we want to thank God for you. That you managed to come out. Yes.
And also to add on to what Connie has shared, I'll give you a clear example what usually people look at. When you see in the movies and you're watching a horror movie and someone sees either the murderer coming and they just look on and they don't move, they freeze, or something bad is happening and they freeze. And for you here in Africa, once you see a snake, you can jump 9 meters up, regardless. So there are some people who have the ability to respond to their own, their mind tells them that it is now self-defense. And then there are those who are like, what can I do? They are stuck. And for us in counseling, we do not give you solutions. No, we are not solution providers. But we facilitate you in a process for which to dig within yourself to identify some of the things that can assist you. But there are individuals who are, let me say, should I say gifted, or they are blessed to know that, let me make research. Let me see what can I do. What is in my means. She could have traveled and left the country. But there is someone who cannot travel and leave the country.
Sure.
You're not even traveling is therapy. Just you nearby going, checking, and you go. Imagine here you're stressed, you're having a lot of, and someone is telling you, we are giving you just a trip of 1 month to go to Greece. and you settle. You don't even remember the problems.
Your mind shifts
So
and starts
environment
thinking about,
change is also very key. It helps people. And maybe she, as she was also able to share that she lost a mom and after some time lost a dad.
Yes.
So, and she was doing a lot of work to shield the fact that she had to grieve for the loss of the loved ones.
Yeah.
That is very key. Sometimes people, when we face challenges, we do not want to look at the problem and go through it.
Yeah.
And when we get to a part where I'll tell you where men are being put at a point where they fail to think that you're supposed to feel good throughout. Not feeling bad.
Yeah.
Don't show your emotions. Be a man.
Yeah. And you find that they shield everything.
Yeah.
But for the women, and for them, it's not that I'm a sexist, but ladies are let me say they are blessed with emotional management, unlike the men. You will annoy her, she'll go to bed and cry. Wake up in the body.
She reasons
Now,
So
for
that's
us,
how you do things.
For us, the men,
Because they'll cry.
the men, they don't cry. I'm a hardy guy. They break his heart today, gets a new one tomorrow. But he's still on the other one.
Yeah.
But when a lady gets to sit in that moment and experience and feel everything, cry it out. Crying, by the way, therapy. If you're out there, please, if you feel like crying, don't pause it.
Yeah.
I would have given you an example, but it is very, very, very weird.
Actually, in other words, just to add something little there is every time we want to heal from pain, we must go through pain. So if you've lost a loved one, like you cannot go around it. Even when you try to block the feelings, you try to do other things, the brain knows that we need to go through this thing. We have pain behind us. So it will store it in the subconscious mind. At one point, as you're working, you're doing something, the picture of your loved one comes in you and then you break down instantly and you begin crying. So even grieving has to be given chance to take place. Only that at that time, you need support. Because the brain doesn't like to go through pain for a very long time.
Yeah.
So during that time, the person needs support, needs people who are going to say, oh, no, it's really sad. You've gone through this. They have to hold your back. They have to take care of you, you know. But usually, every time we don't go through the pain, we don't heal.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I think lots of people avoid that. And that leads to our next phase, I'll call it. Hello, everyone. Kawekwa Douglas is my name from Mindlight, and we're here with Rotary Club of Kiwatule in partnership with Mindlight Limited and the Uganda Counselling Association. And today we're discussing about ending stigma. What we've been discussing is basically to get you to understand mental health. Anything that affects how you think, feel, and behave is what we call mental illness, and it grows on from that as you've been listening in. I would like to actually start with let's start with the escapism aspect. You know, like Gloria was sharing, work. It was more like work was our escape route, and most of people are using that so much.
Exactly.
And substance
abuse.
Yes.
And then also adding to that, I want to add the fact that we think stigma is only about when I'm ill or do what they do, and then people don't associate me as such and all that. But there's something personally I've been realizing a lot with the people I've been engaging with. Like, there's also self-neglect, that's self-stigma.
Yes.
And not so many people are talking about this. Even the platforms have been, not so many people are talking about this. It seems to be a different field of its own. Yet we know that for someone to heal, they start with their self-awareness, themselves first. Just like if it's even healing from substance abuse, starts with the individual accepting. So I would like to hear from both of you, Evelyn and Emma, like stigma. Right now, I would take it like the stigma from the community or society and the stigma from the self. So could you elaborate more, especially about the stigma from, the self, and then Evelyn can elaborate more stigma from the community.
It is okay. Now, when you look at the one for self, I usually ask people, not even people, let me ask all of us here.
Yeah.
How are you? I'll start with you. How are you?
Today I'm feeling good.
Today you're feeling good.
Yeah, so far I'm feeling good.
You're feeling good.
Great.
Most of the times when we ask people, how are you? The thing is, I'm fine.
Right.
How many of us have been in position to share how they are feeling? Like you wake up and you say, you know what? I am burdened. I am having a loan. It is eating me up. But most of the times when we turn up and we look at other individuals, we want to build the picture of everything is okay.
True.
You should tap from the blessing I have.
Yeah, like that.
Yet inside here, you have a pool of water,
a lot of things
that is just waiting for that time to burst out.
True.
So how much do we take of time to to be honest to ourselves as individuals. We are so much minding about what will people think.
Exactly.
But are you sure they would not want to help when you come out?
Sure.
Personally, if I am not well, I tell my friends I'm not doing fine. Of course, it depends on who you're sharing with.
Exactly.
You won't go and tell your acquaintances of like, hey, askari. No, of course they're not going to help you. Oh yeah, you're coming at work, and maybe I have found a Afande there, and I'm like, Jambo Afande, I'm here battling a heartbreak. No, you need to have that circle. Us as people, let us stop wanting to be perfect all the time.
Exactly.
I'll give you another example. There is a disease that is moving around called FOMO. Fear of missing out.
Yeah.
Yes. So people are on the internet and they are living an unassumed life.
Yeah, it's a psychological disorder.
On Snapchat, on Instagram, they are moving around. Have you seen any video on Instagram or on Facebook, someone saying, hi guys, another day without lunch?
No,
they're not there. They're only posting food and food and food just to show people. Even some of them, they go to functions. They record 5 forms of food of different plates in different positions. Namanyanti, I'll post this one this day and the other one. So we are not being honest with ourselves.
Definitely.
So being honest with yourself is one of the first stigma you'll face out. Because your mind will be telling you the moment you come clean, the world is going to know you've been living a fake life.
Yeah.
We have kids who don't even have never bought a meal at Serena. But they know when there's live band at Serena, I can enter and record videos in different places and go sit because it's free of charge. I only have to buy a drink. Nagulaka soda just to keep up. So we ourselves are in denial of our true selves. Yeah. We don't come out and let people know. This is now. The first stigma is of ourselves. Not wanting the world to know of where we need help in. And then the world now comes in later, as Connie is going to explain to you. But all comes from society, and then it comes back to us.
Sure, also, thank you so much. It's to you.
Yes, Douglas, that is a very important question. The truth is, society holds negative attitudes and beliefs towards mental health, but also mental illness as a whole. Because most of my time, I do practice. So I work in a student community, and you'll find a student has been suffering this issue for some time and has reached an extent of even leaving the university after 3 years, and then they will tell you that I wanted to come, but you see, when people see you, they begin imagining, what, you're going to speak to a counselor? Are you, they even use very harsh words.
Are you mad?
Are you mad? It's harsh. I even don't want to speak it on the microphone, but then they use those harsh words that stigmatize people. And the problem with stigma, like he said, and internalized stigma of personal stigma is more difficult than society. Exactly. You say if the society is stigmatizing you, but within you say, well, what is the benefit of a risk? Let me risk, go and get the help.
Exactly.
Because at least I'll be fine. But when already the world holds stigma on mental health and mental illness. So because there is this thing of not wanting to associate with people who are not doing well. And some of the things are embedded in our cultures. Long time ago, I did history. They used to tell us that in families where twins were born, they could even throw them away. Thank God today they are celebrated. Because the truth is, even doctors say, giving birth to twins, it's already an abnormality because someone should give birth to one child. But, changing that mindset took years and years and years, They could, people who get maybe issues like bipolar, they tie them on a tree, then they lock them in houses, because the family never wanted to be associated with a mental health disorder. So the stigma out there, first of all, causes discrimination in the society. It causes isolation. It causes reluctancy to seek help. Because sometimes you even pass in the community and say, oh, this person would have been supported. And then when you go into details, the family will say, that's not a disease for the hospital. It is a family issue. So they are so protective around mental health issues. And because of that, we are having very many people who are not getting help. And remember, if we have more people in the community who are not getting mental health support through either medication or through psychosocial support. We are all affected.
True.
Because some of the things that happen will also affect all of us. The person will not be productive at the job because one, they are maybe non-bipolar patients, but they cannot tell the boss and say that, I think when you put me in this department, it triggers me. I'll get breakdowns all the time. So better I do work, but at this moment, I'm triggered. I need to take my medication. Maybe I need a leave, like that. Yeah, because we work with them.
Yeah, sure.
And so you see someone struggling, they are going through a difficult, and some of them are working in very high, maybe a security place. They are not patients, but
security,
they cannot say it. So if someone wakes up one day and just begins shooting, and then you say, overnight that person, what's wrong? But because there's stigma in the society, makes someone say, if I say, how about my job?
True.
Now everyone is going to begin saying, hey, that one, pointing fingers. But the truth is, mental health is not just it's not for certain individuals. Anyone's mental health can change at any time. So being able to access help is very important, because at the end of the day, the whole community benefits.
Let me share actually a live example that I had last month before we got to grad share more of the experience of stigma. I'm from Chireka. So I'm there, I'm buying, I have pets, I'm buying meat for my pets, and I like talking to people randomly to know how they're doing.
Yes.
So I talked to this Askari. I get to realize he's from Karamoja, and he has a gun and is partaking the nearby club.
Yes.
They give them 1 meal a day, and under harsh conditions. Even getting a leave off is hard. You need to go by force. He has a wife back at Karamoja. He has seen just like twice in a year or so, in a period of whatever, because this was like, that was last month. Those are just seen like twice.
Yes. I
he was hungry, and I asked him, how do you survive? How do you handle? I just be here, and people who goodwill come and they buy for me food, or they give me some money, and this is how he's handling it. So when someone like, you're saying, like someone like him shoots someone out of just a small trigger.
Yes, out of a trigger. Yes. Yeah.
You can't, you'll be like, oh no, just what
And you can't judge them.
Yeah,
but he's handling it because he's from Karamoja. He knows no one around. He has to go in, stand up, start to get smart, and then goes back to the family. So these things, people think like, we just have a deco, but actually people are having so much.
It has been a collection
of so many things, and they are all bottled up within them. So they wait for you who is going to say, hey, says, please, I said, don't park here. I say, who are you? Don't park here. Who are you?
It's true.
The guy gets the thing and
it will be the trigger for him to release.
Exactly. Only a trigger, yes.
Yes, Gloria, what experience you've seen about the stigma, like from workplace, and your experience you've seen other people, the people you know, or the stories you've had? What could you share with us some of what you've learned?
I'm going to talk about mindfulness. So I've noticed that we are just so passive. We are not mindful of ourselves and others around us. So in this way, everyone is just moving around almost in pretense. You've left your home and not mindful of how you're feeling inside. I try to check myself before I leave, and I do some breath exercise or some meditation to make sure that I'm stable before I leave my home. And then also, when we go out, it's easy to know that someone is suffering, because I believe if someone is suffering, there's some body language that comes with it. You can actually see when someone is struggling, that we tend to be passive about it and go on with our, how are you? I'm fine. Yet the body language
is different
for someone. So me, I would ask for us as society to be more mindful of ourselves and others. When you see someone is struggling, just asking them, I can see you're not doing well. They get a chance to actually express what they are going through, and that will be a relief for them. So mindfulness on my side would be one way to go around this issue.
True. Actually, adding to that, last month we had a community outreach with the Rotary Club of Kiwatule and also Rotary Club, the Camp at the Core. we went to Kamocha, the slum in Chiseni.
Yes.
So we got 100 young people and we did problem intervention and psychoeducation. So we got around 14 master students from MOOC who came in and were doing this. And right now, last week, I was invited again because I'm in touch with them. 5 of them want to stop thuggery, want to stop killing people for sustaining, and that they want to take control of their lives and live better. And so that why I'm sharing that is to bring an aspect of how does stigma, because some of from the reviews we had, there's an aspect of stigma and who had to seek help. Because the stigma avoids who had to seek help. So now communities like in the workplace, it's a different setting. In the ghettos, and we call the ghettos down there, it's different.
Yes.
How does stigma showcase in these communities, and how can we address this? Because those young people that are very brilliant, you'll be there, you get to realize the ideas these people have, but just think, how do we avoid stigma to enable these young people out there, like to say in the ghetto, to be able to fulfill their lives being better than in the workplace? How does stigma showcase in these different demographics, and how do we address stigma? Yes, I would like to open in one shot.
Okay. Right. Okay, let me speak about maybe the workplace, because yes, we meet those kind of clients.
Yes.
It starts all with, maybe let me say, from the HR department. HRs are trained to work with human beings because they're in the humanities.
True.
So they are more humanistic in nature. So maybe if the HRs could be even trained more in some basics
Of mental health.
Basics of mental health, because someone may not come and tell maybe a fellow worker, but they can go and speak to the HR and say, this is how I feel. I'm not feeling okay. And then also having those open spaces at the workplace where people can...
Just like we have open spaces for prayers and that.
Exactly, where people can have... Some offices have now created workout places. Others go out there and then they just begin speaking about things, how they feel, taking those, just having a conversation with people. To
create a good environment for people to choose.
Create, you realize there's a certain worker T who is always sick, missing work, but maybe is one of the best workers. But you realize one time I met a lady who said that, one time she was going to be killed by her husband. Her husband was going to kill her because he also had, I think, a mental, untreated mental health problems. And this girl went to work in the same suit on Monday and went in the same clothes on Tuesday. And that's the only time someone asked her, Ngayu, you came in the same clothes yesterday and today. But she didn't know what this woman had gone through. She had run out of the house. Remember, she has not told the HR that I'm having issues at home. She has to be at work. So she went. The day she opened up to the HR, that's the day she said, you know what, I've given you a 1 month leave. It's called what leave? A certain kind of leave to go and sort these things. And then you'll come back to work. But she told me that she had suffered for about 6 months in a very toxic relationship. She's locked outside the house, but she's needed at the job. She has to go and work. Whether she has bruises in the back, she has to put on the suit and go present and speak to customers, smile. So the workplaces should have these open spaces where people can express themselves through maybe the HR or the people managers. And then also, I worked in a place where one time they took us just to a hotel and then they gave open talk. We were like 50 people. And they could introduce themselves, say this and this. Anything you find not pleasing you at this place. Some people just wrote. People wrote things. People said things. The way the manager speaks to me. And it brought a lot of change because people had burnout. There was general burnout in the whole organization. And the clients were complaining that these counselors are rude. But when people, even speaking out like what she said, mindfulness, when someone, you may not, by the way, sometimes someone is not going to give you medicine. They're not even going to give you a solution. But being able to speak to someone and then they listen to you without judgment. True. Yeah, without judgment. And there are people, by every statement you say, only that. I also lost my mother. But you see, losses have different
depending on your connection.
Depending on your, it's very different. It's not the same. Especially grief is so personal. We can even lose the same people, but the way we are going to
They'll
brief is
react
going
to
to
it.
be,
It's
you can say, me, I have 10 children, they have lost one. Maybe they will be like, it's normal. Someone has one child and they have lost them. And then you have 10 children, you're coming to say, I also lost my son. So you'll be okay. The person will not understand you.
True.
Because you do not know how they relate. So the workplace is there should be good policies to address mental health because, a lot of silence.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think to add on to that, when it comes to how we can be able to end this stigma here, awareness about mental health is very key. And I want to thank the Rotary Club of Kiwatule. This is an intervention. As more people we can reach and preach about what mental health is. Not you coming, you're talking about mental health ogamba conference yawali lero munayo bajuwa balalu manti buli mwaka bogera ku balalu naye the moment you bring the stories down to the layman's understanding nti bwe njogera ku mental health njogera ku nnaku ekuli ku mutima njogera ku nnyike ekuli mu birowoozo njogera ku obwo obulumi bw'owulira nti omwami wo. And even I would want to thank the Uganda Kingdom for them. They have done the best to at least get the English dictionary to the local language. Also, if we can also get these mental health terms and we put them in the local languages of these individuals, it will be able to help us that when you talk about anxiety, anxiety okutya kwotamanyi okuba kwekyo kyotamanyi, fear of what you don't know, and ate omuntu ogenda okyogeraku ng'akitegeera. But right now people don't understand these terms, they are still in the English terms. Ogenda kujja okanika nkubuuze gwe yogera schizophrenia mu Luganda olwo mono schizophrenia whatever it is no omuntu kasita akitegeera. That is number one. Then number two, when we get to our environment, we need to understand that we evolve. Exactly. Every time we evolve, things change, times change. Can we also move with the trend? If you get to understand that, hey, there is something called workplace mental health and well-being, or there is workplace tension, can we talk about that? How, if I may ask, how many companies here in Uganda do give what we call employee support services? Whereby if somebody is distressed,
the EAPs,
they move somewhere and talk to them. You will move to various companies, they don't have that.
There is no,
You will go to schools. How many schools have counselors there? And even if they have counselors,
the teachers are
the counselors. But the question is the teacher providing counseling or they are giving advice and guidance?
True.
Those two are very different.
Totally different,
Until we streamline this and it meets its goal, we shall forever talk and see around. Exactly. And in 2022, when they brought about that 14 million Ugandans, being mental health disorders, and Uganda Counselling Association was able to pioneer the first National Mental Health Conference, which was adopted by Ministry of Health and National Mental Health Working Group. So every year we have a National Mental Health Conference where we talk about things that are mattering on ground, research made. People go make research, submit abstracts, and they tell us what is happening in Germany, what is happening here, and what are the interventions. So with that, even this year we are having one on 28th to 30th May at Silver Springs Hotel. We bring different stakeholders, government, parliament, we bring about our sponsors that come and we talk about these issues. And we see, yes, we have talked here. So where is government coming in? Where is parliament coming in? Where do we need you to come in? As long as you know that as you know your role as an individual, that I'm going to advocate, not to manage.
True.
And this is a message to you.
Clarity is key.
And I want to send a message to the advocates out there. We thank you very much for the work you're doing. But please, if you are not trained, don't manage any case. Or else you're going to re-traumatize. You're going to continue pushing on. And we appreciate continue advocating, talk about mental health, but don't manage cases. And the ones managing cases, the counselors. Also, don't have that stigma. We're talking about stigma the counselors are having. For me to go and talk to Connie of, hey, I am going through some challenges at work, because they would ask me, someone asked me one time that Katigwe counselor, when you're stressed, do you open your notes or you talk to someone?
We have a counselor for
you're
counselor.
Stressed, So we found that Uganda Counselling Association, we found this very pertinent, and we brought about counselor supervision and training. So even as the service providers receive the service we offer, but from another perspective of someone who is either at a topper level or someone trained to provide counselor supervision and training. Those are the various, not even the various, they are the few. If we had time, we would go through the very many of them. But those are the key ones. Let everybody know their role, fulfill your role, and if you cannot support beyond, refer. There are very many referral pathways. Look for Uganda Counselling Association. We shall give you all the way forward.
Thank you so much. That's awesome. On last week, Friday, Dr. Henry Subuga from the Counseling Center invited me for the book launch of Higher Powers.
Higher Powers.
Yes. And Professor China, she's Professor China, they were talking about the aspect of stigmatizing with names. And she said we don't even call people called addicts. It's even also stigmatizing.
It's also stigmatizing, Yes.
So I remember she said something like people with the
substance abuse disorders.
Yes, that's what she is. So Gloria, I don't know what other forms of stigmatizing have you seen? Do you know that we're using in the country that need to be changed? Because was the code in quotes mad Wamulalu? Now, like addicts is also now part of stigmatizing from the community. What other names or what other you've had that are using it with people who are actually sick and we need to stop.
People call them psychopath. Yeah, people call them crazy. You know, so people are scared to actually come out and speak on what they are suffering with. And also people not understanding. Of course, awareness is everything.
Yes.
Because people are not understanding that stress alone and anxiety is an issue mentally.
Yes.
So when they come to talk about mental health, they don't consider themselves going through a mental challenge because they think it's supposed to be madness, addiction, the extremes.
Yes.
Yet, I believe all of us as individuals are going through mental health challenges.
True.
Not even on a daily, because any kind of pain that you go through, any kind of loss, any disappointment affects your mental state.
Yeah, true.
So for me, I feel like that awareness on these small day-to-day dealings is very important, because people feel like it's not mental health challenges until they're at the extremes. There is also, he talked about FOMO, which
you're
is
missing out.
what the youth is suffering with. Because remember, people are on their phones every day, seeing people living these high-end lives, which even them, they post once in a while when they go have an experience, which is not a daily lifestyle. So you'll find people are struggling to want to live certain lives on a day-to-day basis beyond their means. So I don't know how we can address that kind of issue, the social media issue, because it actually starts even with the younger kids in primary.
True.
Yeah.
So now it's going all the way down to primary. Even preschool kids now have tabs, so they get to see, all these other things.
They're seeing Kim Kardashian's kid doing this. Mommy also wants that.
Like them.
I want that court.
So now they start suffering very earlier on.
They start being in those positions.
Yeah.
You're right.
And actually, when you were saying that, I wanted to ask Evelyn and Gloria, have you had any person who's male in your life has ever come and shared with you about what they're going through and they needed help?
Maybe, but me as a psychologist, I've met many.
Okay.
Yeah, I meet them.
Okay, someone personal for you. Let's say someone personal away from the clients, from the patients.
From the clients.
Let's say family or what?
It's not a very usual thing for men. It's not a first thing that they will think of. It will really happen if now I think they have reached where they cannot
breaking point.
Yes, handle it anymore. But in most cases, they try to be very hard, to be so strong. But when you live with someone or you see someone or someone's your relative, like she said, mindfulness. There's a way in which you can begin to see this person's
Something,
behavior has changed. They are not happy, or they are so much into their phone, they're no longer collaborating. And then maybe you begin to wonder, sometimes it also affects relationships. You realize someone, because I work with relationships, it's one of my areas. So you realize someone will tell you about a relationship. In most cases, these relationships are suffering people's personal problems. Someone is having stress at their workplace, and so they cope through beginning to drink. And someone says, my partner was not drinking before, but now they are drinking so hard. And you want to know what changed. And you realize they are having external stress, but they're not sharing this at home. They're not coming home and telling the partner that, you know what, today we ganye. Right. I got a loan. Men don't fear loans. Women fear loans. The woman will, by the time a woman gets a loan, she first thinks, how am I going to pay it? How long? They will get little money. A man will go and get $1 billion. And in his head, he says, I'm going to make this money. I'm going to get it. God has blessed them with that thing of not fearing. But the truth is, sometimes they get problems. And so you get someone beginning to getting high blood pressure and so on. By the time they reach these extremes, it all started with some little pressure, worry, to anxiety. They moved further, until they got even sick. But they were quiet, alone. That someone sang for us who were older children at that time. We had someone sing Alone and Frightened. Very many people actually retire, sang a very important song. Even today, the other time it was HIV. Today it's mental health. People are alone and frightened. And they are not saying it out because of the discrimination, So I've realized people want to associate with people who are doing well. It's a natural thing of human beings. Perceptions. Look at Kim Kardashian. She's looking nice. Life is good. But she's a TV personality. What else should she do? She has to look nice all the time because that's what makes people pay the money. Can you really live? Life is not real. It's out of reality. So, but in reality, we go through challenges. You cannot maintain a certain... Yesterday, my son told me, looked at a birthday of a big person here and then saw people of his size. They were all looking nice. I said, Mommy, these people don't have problems. Do you think they have problems? How can they get problems? They're in nice suits. Life is good. They get what they want. They fly to any country they want. So... But that's an imagination. Now, me as a psychologist, I meet every kind of person. The low, the middle, the high. The truth is everyone has challenges. The only thing is everyone needs support in one or another. Yes.
Gloria, anything you could supplement to that regards to men seeking out for help in your life or from your experiences?
As she has said, for men, it's very hard to come out. It's us to be more mindful and go ahead and approach them and engage them and see what they are going through. I'll talk from an experience from family. When over the weekend, I could see one of my cousins was going through something, but they can't say it. They are always in denial. Even when they are expressing themselves, they are not talking about it as the problem. They are talking about it as it's okay. I can live with that. Like I've been living with it, but I'm like, don't you want to live better? Don't you? Yes. So it's like they don't know. He doesn't know anything better than the stress that he's living in. So he's comfortable with that stress just because they want to express how he feels to someone, and that can be confronted, and the situation can be changed. So if for men, it's us as society to be more mindful and identify that this person is suffering, approach them, and then give them an audience.
So that they live better, yes. As we conclude, I would like to ask each of the panelists one last question. Butavika Hospital, the National Hospital, is stigmatized by the aspect of mental illnesses, and yet it's one of the helping centers we have in the country. Referral National Hospital. So to each one of you, in 2 minutes, I would like you to share how can we destigmatize Butavika Hospital, as well as how do we end stigma nationwide? starting with Emma.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
To me, it is going to it's just a message to everyone.
Yeah.
It is okay to not be okay. Don't think you are born to be perfect for anybody. You are human. Don't forget that. Many of us forget that we are human. Just because you've gotten a high position in life and you think that you don't need to go out and share with somebody. You don't need to come on social media and share, but find that one person, that therapist, that counselor, or even if it is a friend that you confine in, share with them and they help you walk the journey together. Or else, what you're hiding within there, the media is yet to find out when it is beyond normal. And how can we support Botabika Hospital? Just like any hospital else. Physical health is important, as well as mental health is important. If it is not okay here, it's nowhere okay in our bodies. I've seen clients who are imaginary invalid, if you know that statement. They're imaginary invalid. They just assume I am sick, and it is all here. They go, they check everything, but here is the problem.
Yes.
Until you solve here.
Yeah.
And there's some people there, they say, money solves everything.
Yes.
But please, where you have failed to reach the means, just lower down your expectations and work within your means. And we shall be able to find that there. You can visit Botabika Hospital or you can take care of your loved one. And if you're taken to Botabika, it's not a punishment. Accept the process, go through it, and within the shortest period of time, you'll be well.
Thank you, Emma.
Okay.
Yes, Evelyn.
Yeah, not so different, but I began in the beginning with say that we can all have mental health issues. So if you're out there and you suffer a mental health issue or a non-mental health disorder, just know you're not alone. Anyone else can suffer, but there have been designated places for us to get support. We have Botabika as our national referral. And Botabika, I've been at Botabika. When people think about it, they think they're going to meet people out there throwing stones, doing this. The Botabika is just like you say in Mulago. There are people who are in intensive care. There are people who are at the casualty. There are people, even Botabika has levels. There are those in intensive care whom they are taking care of to stabilize so that they can later on go back to maybe get occupational therapy and be reintegrated back to the community.
True.
There are those who are in different places. So, and Botabika is one of the most serene hospitals. I did there my practicum. It's clean. It's, it's not noisy. So, and then it has every kind of things that they are doing there. So when you are taken to such a referral hospital, first notice that you are being helped. But of course, I'm saying now for someone who is not in the extreme, because someone who is in the extreme and is already out of reality will fight because the stigma is already part of the problem. Even denial is that self-stigma is also a problem. So the family, be kind enough, because even the family members have not been very helpful in this. I've worked with people whereby you take them to a hospital, then you call a family member and the family member says, "What? Why did you take them there?" For us, we don't suffer from those diseases. In fact, that person is only, maybe bewitched. We know those things are there, but let us really focus on persons and be able to support them and put them to designated places where they can get good support. So everyone can get a mental health issue. Don't be there and say, no, that's for other people. Anyone can get it. So let us support this cause so that mental health awareness can go even to the grassroots so that people can seek help where they're supposed to get help. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Gloria, to you, please.
My final message would be for people to be more aware of themselves and mindful of how they feel and the surroundings around them. That is including everyone else and how they feel. Because I believe mental health is the beginning of happiness and fulfillment. You can't be happy if your mental health is not well. So in order for us to be able to be mentally healthy, we need to be more mindful of ourselves and others. Yes.
Thank you so much. My name is Kharono Douglas once again from Mind Health Limited. And in summary, some key takeaways: it's okay to cry so that you can heal. As we've talked, mindfulness, each one of us should keep or be mindful, not only for ourselves, but for every other person around us. And also for those doing advocacy, please don't handle any case. As you know, don't handle any case. You know, there's a science behind this. It's not just about talking and someone feels good. There's a science behind this. Don't handle any case. And then those who, for the men, those who suffer from mental challenge, feel free. It's okay to always talk to someone who you confide in. It's very okay. It's very normal. And lastly, Mind Life, and in partnership with Rotary Kiwatule and the Uganda Counselling Association, we thank you. See you next time.